Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining today's session on Metaverse. I would like to introduce today's presenter, Mr. Shehnawaz SF. Shehnawaz is the head of extended reality Metaverse at Novak Technology Solutions. In his current role, he is responsible for marketing and project management using immersive technologies like AR, VR, MR, and Metaverse solutions to help address business problems for clients. He has over 20 years of work experience in learning and development and the edtech sector. Shenavaz holds an MBA in Human Resources from Annamalai University, a BE in Electronics, Electrical and Communications Engineering from Anna University, and a diploma from the Indian Society of Training and Development. A warm welcome to Shenavaz. We are glad to have you present at the online Manipal Plus series. Before we start the session, I would like to request the audience to ask questions only in the Q&A tab. We will take them at the end of the session. Also, to help us continue to make our programs better, we request you to please take the short survey at the end of this webinar. Over to you, Shenavaz.
Yeah, thank you very much. And thank everyone for taking your time to attend over here. Right. So thank you very much for the brief intro that you had given. Let's start. Okay. So one more thing to add is I'm going to share experiences that we have gathered over a period of time on all these immersive solutions that we have been trying to create, and slowly moving on to creating metaverse solutions for businesses and also for ourselves to go ahead and create a product. So with that, I would move on. So any session where I talk about immersive solutions, I always bring up this particular video. So I don't know how many of you have watched this movie, but if you haven't, please go watch this movie because it is very, very relevant to current scenario. This movie is called Ready Player One, and it is based on a novel which was written long
And then
back.
he built it. He gave us a place to go, a place called the Oasis. This is the Oasis. It's a place where the limits of reality are your own imagination.
Do you guys know Minecraft here? I hope you guys know Minecraft.
The Oasis. It's a place where the limits of reality are your own imagination. You can do anything. Go anywhere. Like the Vacation Planet. Surf a 50-foot monster wave in Hawaii. You can ski down the pyramids. You can climb Mount Everest with Batman. Check out this place. It's a casino the size of a planet. You can lose your money there. You can get married. You can get divorced. You can go in there. People come to the Oasis for all the things they can do, but they stay because of all the things they can be. Tall, beautiful, scary, a different sex, a different species, live action, cartoon. It's all your call. Yeah, that's me. Well, that's my avatar. At least until I feel like changing. Except for eating, sleeping, and bathroom breaks, whatever people want to do, they do it in the Oasis. And since everyone is here, this is where we meet each other. It's where we make friends. Locate H.
Locating H. H located.
Shit. It's an artifact hunt?
Yup. Gregarious 120.
Turn into any giant robot for 2 minutes. That's rad. Artifacts. Those were key. Halliday made sure the Oasis was littered with enough randomly powerful stuff that anyone could win if they had the skills. Death matches and artifact hunts are a good way to coin snatch, but depending on your level of armor, they're risky. You see, everyone starts the same, but the more coin you make, the more you level up. If you get killed, your avatar can come back to life, but you lose all your stuff. Everything you've ever worked for. All your money. Your clothes. Your weapons. Since people spend most of their time in the Oasis, losing your shit means, well, losing your shit.
Okay, so this pretty much sums up what we are going to discuss today. And as I said, no, I think you guys should definitely go and watch this movie if you haven't. And that will give you an idea of what actually is going to happen in the future, which is coming up, and that actually can help you understand a lot of things that we're going to talk. Right? Let me just quickly delve into how it all started. So, if you think metaverse is something very new, it is not. It has been there for a long time. At least for me, as a gamer, I have been into this for quite long because I played. I still play console games to all kinds of things. And this online game started long back. And an online game is nothing but a metaverse because I can see everybody. I can have real time communication. So what kind of interaction I do, the other person can see that I if the other person interacts with the same 3D object, I can also have. So a game is nothing but we are talking about a 3D world where we interact with each other. Right? And
Shanavas,
yeah.
sorry to interrupt. Attendees are not able to hear you very clearly.
Okay. Are you able to hear me?
This is slightly better, but you're sounding a little distant.
Is my voice clear now?
Yes, thank you.
Better?
Yes.
Okay. So I was actually talking about how it all started, with the online gaming stuff, right? And if you look at the start in itself, that it's all started with the web. Long back in 1989, we had this internet, and then you had someone Neal Stephenson write about metaverse in his novel, and then you have this Second Life game coming up in 2003. I don't know how many of you known about Second Life because that is what exactly sparkled this metaverse thing long back. And then you had Roblox, but it was more of more for kids, and that's why I didn't get through. Even if you talk about something that recently got launched, PUBG, that is in 2017. So people did not have a great thought about PUBG being a metaverse, but because it was into gaming, so anything that was into gaming, right? People didn't give much heed to it. Businesses didn't give much heed to it, so it didn't move on. And Bitcoin, obviously, it's into cryptocurrency and blockchain. Why do we bring in blockchain? I'll talk about it later. But that played a vital role in metaverse. And you had, I showed you clippings of Ready Player One. The novel was written in 2011, so long back, so almost 11 years ago. And then you have this movie made in 2018. Even then, I do not know how many of you have watched this movie, right? It was a very underrated movie, so it didn't go, well with the public. So people thought, no, maybe this is far-fetched, but no, it is not. In 3 years, you almost have this, happening today. Right? And in 2015, Decentraland, had their first iteration, but nobody even listened to what they were, trying to do. There were some angel investors who started investing, understanding that there's a potential. And as far as the immersive solutions is concerned, augmented reality and virtual reality, it became again popular because of a game called Pokemon Go. And that is when almost all businesses caught up with augmented reality, and they started using it for their training, marketing solutions. Even today, augmented reality plays a vital role in marketing. And then 2017, you had Fortnite coming up, again a gaming platform, and you have Axie, no Infinity. Even today, it is very good in terms of playing. And in 2021, Microsoft unveils Mesh, especially for their HoloLens. So it's pretty good. And from there, they also have this All Space VR, which is again a very good communication platform, kind of real-time communication virtual platform. And everyone goes crazy in 2021 again when Mark announces that Facebook's name is going to be coined as Meta. And that actually drives everybody crazy to the NFTs, to the cryptocurrencies, everything, almost the value of all these things. Of course, it is again coming down, but it is quite substantially increased. The value proposition of metaverse has gone really high from there on. So this is a very brief history, right? There are a lot of milestones over here which we actually cannot talk about. It's a very good piece I got, which I'm showing you, which actually summarizes what has happened so far, right? So like I already told you, this was the name was first coined in the novel written by Neal Stephenson, that is Snow Crash, in 1992, way back in 1992. The word caught up, and the concept also was similar, so that is why it has been referred to as metaverse. Now, this is one kind of a definition that I have about metaverse. So metaverse is a social ecosystem which is constructed using your web, blockchain, and immersive interface. It is a combination of all three. So if you ask me if just one or two interface, one of these technologies are used, is it not metaverse? Yes, it is still, but I'm talking about a full-fledged metaverse has all these things, right? And it is again a real-time communication platform where you have identities, and since it is mostly into 3D world, so you need to have an identity to get into it because you represent a part of this ecosystem. And it also allows you to own content instead of just creating content. You also have the option of owning content in these platforms, and that actually is a very, very special feature of metaverse, right? And that is something which we'll look into in detail. The difference between a normal web and a metaverse, which is part of this revolution that is happening, called as Web 3.0, right? So I think it makes sense to go ahead and correlate this with what we actually saw as a video. You had this protagonist of the movie walking you through Oasis as a platform. So in the movie you have this Oasis, which is a platform where people go in through their avatars and have real-time interaction with people. Other people come in through their avatars and they play games, and the creator actually makes them achieve some challenges and tries to reveal some information about this life. That is how it is. It goes on. Since it is a story, they had to create a lot of emotional milestones to go ahead and present the story. But ultimately, the entire story revolves about metaverse, and they add this virtual reality to it. But you don't require virtual reality to be in metaverse. You can pretty much use your PCs, laptops, even there are some coming up for phones also, right? Okay, so let's just look into one example. So these are all examples, popular examples. These are not only the examples that of metaverse, but I'm going to show you only one of them because I'm not sure whether I'll have the time to go ahead and show you more than one. So I'll show you the most famous popular one currently, which is Decentraland. Of course, Roblox and other platforms are also famous, but they are targeting a specific audience. If you look at Roblox or if you go to Axie Infinity, you will find a specific audience over there. Mostly the audience which is no 14 and below age, because it is more of gaming. You can create your own games. Of course, there are creators there, right? But at the same time, the primary audience is in terms of at a very underage. But these platforms I'm talking about, Decentraland, Somnium Space, CryptoVex, Sandbox. Sandbox again, it has a very mixed audience. So are primarily or being eyed by businesses to go ahead and use the platform for their businesses marketing. Some of them are trying to go ahead and use it for their operations. So when we say operations, like setting up their offices there, and having their daily interactions over there. So that is something some of them are looking at. So it is pretty much being used across, not quite widely, but yes, it has just started. I'll just show you, dive into one of them. Take some time to stay with me. We'll talk about something else. So So this is the advantage of all these platforms. You can directly get into this world and experience. You don't have to create any account. You can experience them. Even if you need an account, they usually ask you to create a wallet, digital asset wallet. So we're not talking about your Paytm or any other wallet. We're talking about wallets that are created for buying and storing NFTs or currencies, cryptocurrencies, or digital currencies. So it takes up some time. So though my laptop is pretty high conf, it takes up. One message over here is these are very, very high-end applications, so which are consuming some kind considerable amount of data and considerable amount of CPU usage. So you are better off using a laptop or a PC that has a dedicated GPU that can allow you to use this. It is a miracle that it is working on web. So mostly, a year back, everything worked only on an application. You need to download a PC app, you need to download a VR headsets app and then use it. But for almost a year now, we have these kind of applications on the web itself. But again, though it is on the web, it is pretty GPU consuming. It pretty much downloads some plugins on your system and then starts up. So this is my avatar. There is an option to go ahead and change my avatar. Okay, there's a complete avatar system. And change it. Allow it to load. Yeah. So it is on, I guess. So I'm running so many applications, it actually has an issue. So this is the 3D world. Here. Do not get into. So you see what happened exactly. Right. So this is something which we have to take care of, because even since I was running multiple applications on my laptop, I couldn't show you. But you can always visit and have an experience. So it is very easy to use. You simply have to use your keys to go and navigate, and you can use your mouse to go and look around, right? So make sure that use one or two applications when you're using them, and you should have a GPU based laptop, right? So in these kind of worlds, you can go around and and you can have an experience of you can actually pretty much do almost everything that you do in the real world, right? So you can talk to people, you can buy stuff, you can play games, you can have you can watch movies, you can watch concerts. There are musical concerts that were conducted, live concerts that were conducted in the past, and there are auctions that they take place. Auctions of real world items, right? And real estate is something which is booming in this no space. So there are all sorts of things that happen in the real world that is happening here. So whatever we saw in Ready Player One video initially, so that is something which is actually coming into reality, right? So that actually opens up a new ecosystem, like how in 1980s, end of 90s and beginning of 90s, the web opened up a new platform for businesses and for students who are looking out for new opportunities and all these kind of that is why we call it an ecosystem, because it is going to create jobs, it is going to create business opportunities, it is going to create opportunities for current functions to evolve to the next stage, right? And that is why Facebook or all these big names are trying to go ahead and have a piece of this, because it has potential. Otherwise, why would they get it, right? But we need to understand this ecosystem from four different elements, because these are the four different elements that are going to drive this complete ecosystem altogether, right? And when we look into these four elements, what you'll understand is in each of you, I do not know each of you, where do you come from different backgrounds. You might be a student, you might be a businessman, you might be a educator, you might be a investor, we don't know, right? But so all these elements can help you understand where you might fit in, right? This question of what's in it for me in this metaverse is somewhere lying in these elements, and that is where you need to go ahead and pitch in and try to go ahead and create an opportunity for yourself to go ahead and look at how you can use this to go ahead and make your life and your customers life or your students life or your employees life better using this technology, because every technology has its own pros and cons. Let us look at what we can do. So let us start with the first element, that is, so I was talking about four things. One is the technology itself, and the market. How is it going to affect the market? When we talk about market, we are going to talk about the industry, the various industries that are getting affected. Law and social norms. These are very subjective norms here, law and social norms. And meanwhile, no, I'll be also be touching into some new things like might be new to you, like NFTs and blockchains, right? Just an introduction. I won't be able to dwell deeper into this because they are different topics altogether. I can spend 1 hour or 2 hours on each of these topics separately, but the agenda is not that. But they are allied technologies that are used, right? Let's move on to the technology part. One, these are the three elements that actually constitute the technologies that are used in metaverse. One is the web technologies itself, but not the kind of traditional web technologies we are talking about, the web 2.0. That is completely different from what is being used over here. And immersive interfaces, yes, they help, because what I showed you as an example is nothing but a WebGL format, okay, graphical layer which works on web, and it allows you to have 3D interactions, and it allows you to render 3D, okay, and live, and also, uh, of course, blockchain. I told you that no, we'll get into blockchain and understand why it is being used. So what web technologies are being used? Now, if you are a technical person, so if you are from the technical background, anybody from the technical background here, or no, either already available, already working in the technical background, or you are aspiring to be one, so you can watch out for what technologies are used here. Of course, web browsers, traditional web browsers is what we are using. There are no advanced web browsers that are going to come that is going to make life easier. We are going to use, we primarily use WebRTC over here, real-time communication, which is a framework which allows us to share video and share audio in real time, right? That helps, the communication that happens in these environments. And we also use a lot of software development kits that allow us to share chat, text, voice, and video. And Web 3.0 is a framework that is going to govern these environments, these virtual environments. So Web 3.0 is something which actually uh, gives you a wide option while browsing. That is the that is something which I can put you in layman. So what you do today while browsing is you can add content, you can comment, you can create something, but still whatever you do is owned by the platform. It is not owned by you. What will happen in Web 3.0 is most you will start owning the content that you create. Right. So let us just understand the differences quickly. How it is structured, it is centrally owned, and you have uh, someone who has created the website or the portal taking complete control of it. That is right opposite to what will happen in Web 3.0. Web 3.0 is based on a decentralized autonomous organization, which is a collection of people who are engaging with blockchains. So they come together and they go and create, and you use native tokens which are used to go ahead and interact with, and you also take control of the things that happen on. There is a voting system in Web 3.0 which actually takes care of this aspect as to what kind of rules and regulations are to be framed, and how these and who decides. The community decides. It's not one person who decides. For example, if you take Facebook decides everything that we do. WhatsApp decides everything that we do, right? So it's one person, it's centrally controlled. But if you take Web 3.0 or community DAOs, so most the participants who are powering these DAOs, they vote, and based on that the decisions are taken. So who is powering them? We, who are going to be the users, we are going to power them, because we are nodes. It is a node-based system. So we are the nodes who power the system, right? And where is the data stored? It is stored centralized. Normally in Web 2.0, it is going to be a decentralized one. So if I have, I'm a participant in this, so obviously some of the data will be stored in my PC. That's what I'm trying to say. And the platform, obviously platform, currently you can use it in PC, virtual reality, both are common, no much difference here. And payments, you use traditional payments here like credit card, debit card, UPI, everything. Here you will have that also. So it is not mentioned, but that also will be there in a different format. But yes, crypto will be the key. Digital assets ownership. So who owns the digital assets? It is owned through owned by the platform, but here it will be owned through non-fungible tokens. NFTs will be the ones which will decide the ownership. And for example, in Decentraland, you saw the world, right? So that world has it's a very big world. It has so many parcels of land. Those parcels of land can be bought by anybody. And that parcel of land is an NFT. It's a non-fungible token. So I'll have to use a fungible token to go ahead and buy the NFT. Okay, so non-fungible means something which cannot be exchanged. The land is unique. The land that I own in Decentraland is a unique thing that I alone own. So nobody else can have no ownership on that. Right? And digital assets portability logged within the platform, and this is completely transferable here. And content creators are mostly the ones who are hired by the platform for Web 2.0. But here, content creators are the ones who are participating in the DOs. And so what kind of activities you can have? Pretty much same. So whatever you're doing here in Web 2.0, Facebook, blah, 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 all these things you can do over here also. But only thing is the way you do is different. But it is very immersive. That is the only big difference that you see between these two. And identity, you have username and things like that. Here, apart from that, you also have a public and private key kind of a setup, which enhances your security. And at the same time, you also have avatars using which you can come in and represent yourself. So these are all kind of differences that you'll feel. And in terms of commercials, we are talking about partnership over here. But the mostly the platform takes most part of these earnings, right? And in Web 3.0, it's going to be a peer-to-peer. The developers earn. So since it is going to be through NFTs and royalties and cryptocurrencies, so if you contribute something to this community, in terms of providing something or your land or all those aspects, so you are going to get digital assets in return. So there are some incentives like you get gas, you get coins for participating. So that is the kind of remuneration that you get in Web 3.0. So some of that what we discussed over here can be new to you if you do not understand what blockchain is, and that is why I'm going to spend very little time on blockchain, but I would require you guys to go ahead and check by yourself, know what exactly it is. Blockchain is nothing but a digital immutable ledger. So what is a ledger? Ledger is some place where you keep a record of some transactions, right? So what if this ledger is maintained by everybody who is part of the community? So I have a part of this ledger and you also have a part of this ledger, and whatever transactions I make, you can actually verify and see that no, this is a verifiable thing. And once I do this, that transaction cannot be changed. No, that is why it is called immutable. And that is where this cryptography comes in. It is based on a cryptography based, hash based system where you have something done once and you cannot change it. And to make some kind of a change or accept or to go ahead and approve the transaction that you make, you need to have a particular consensus algorithm, and using that consensus method, you have to approve it. You might have heard this name miners. These are the people who implement this consensus method to go ahead and make sure that the transactions that are happening in a blockchain are legal, and because of which they are provided with a benefit. They gain some of these inherent digital assets. For example, if you take Ethereum, if he's an Ethereum miner, so if he he has to run some algorithms to go ahead and make sure the transactions that are there are validated. For validating all those things, he gets a part of in form of gas. So those things can be converted to ETH. So that is how people are getting rewarded for whatever effort they are giving, their time, and also they very high end systems to be used to go.
Hello, Srinivas. We can't hear you. Srinivas, can you hear us?
You're on mute, Srinivas.
You hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, you're audible.
Okay. Right. So we are Okay, so where was I? Okay, so there are two types of blockchains. One is permissionless and permissioned. In the metaverse, we are talking about open, so we are talking about a permissionless blockchain where the community comes into play. In permission blockchains, business use cases are there, right? Let's move on quickly to the next one, which is immersive interfaces. So this is something which I was already talking to you about. Immersive interfaces give you a uh, where you can actually interact with 3D. So you can simply in layman terms understand that no, if you have to interact with something in three-dimensional view, you need an immersive interface. So one of them which works on 2D interfaces is WebGL. And if you take virtual reality, I do not know how many of you have experienced virtual reality, Oculus, HTC Vive, Pico. So these are headsets that allow you to interact completely in 3D. And mixed reality also helps you get into a three-dimensional mode. At the same time, you're connected to the reality, right? So these are technologies which are being used. Now, if you look at it, if you are a technology person or you're looking into technology, these many options are there for you to get into it. And trust me, these are definitely going to grow and the demand is already higher, right? Ask me, I'm really, have a lot of, scarcity in terms of resources. We are looking out continuously for resources in this technology, right? So there's a lot of scope. So that's what you have. Right? And let me quickly move to the next one. So I hope you understand what the next one is. So the next one is market. So before we go and see what market is, let us show you something else. This is again from the same movie, and it's a very relevant clip for the next thing that we're going to talk about.
As soon as I took the key, all the coins just appeared in my account.
I'll tell you what, I'm soiling my haptics right now. What the hell's a cataclysm?
A bomb. Kills every avatar on the planet, even the owner.
Who want that?
IOI. They buy everything. 20,000 for the holy hand grenade? That's a steal. Whoa! Zemeckis cube. I need one of those.
Okay, don't spend all your money.
X1 haptic boot suit?
So you saw that? So that is again something which is already started happening. So these guys walk around in their avatars and they start buying stuff for themselves, and this guy gets something in real world also. So even that is something which is going to happen. So that is what we are going to talk about next. Right. So market. So when we talk about market, we're talking about the disruptions that are going to happen in the market. So we already saw in the clip, right? So of course he's buying a haptic device. So it is not something which is a day-to-day thing that you buy. Okay, it is very specific to gaming. But what has happened currently now is like very quickly from gaming, we have started having real-time interactions over here in this world, right? So you would have already heard of a lot of NFTs coming into play, right? Non-fungible tokens, so which you buy and you represent the ownership of that particular token. And some of these tokens are in such a way that these are digital assets, and these digital assets can be a wardrobe that can be used for one of your avatars in the future, or like what happened in this particular instance, something you buy over there and that gets delivered to you, in your real world. If that is the possibility, right? So industry disruption is happening across. So especially in some of these, like fashion, yes, of course it is going to happen and it's happening. There are some of these fashion shows already happening in these worlds. You can go to these event section of some of these metaverses. You can see fashion shows, concerts already lined up, live, specific on a particular date, those things will start. So I don't want to go ahead and show you because it gets stuck. Maybe start. And yes, real estate. I already discussed a lot about this. That is one of the biggest thing that is happening in this. And the same way that we are buying land in our real world. So there is a competition happening for the real estate in these virtual worlds. You can ask me, oh, what am I going to do buying a virtual world there? Yes, pretty much not much today. But if you hold and these things really happen the way we are anticipating, yes, there is a lot of scope, right? So there'll be a lot of people coming, and obviously they would like to buy stuff, and they would like to know where to buy them. And obviously, if I'm there, I get a customer, right? So 15 years back, if someone said that no, you're going to shop on your phone, you're going to shop on a piece of device that is going to be called a phone. Uh, I think it is even before smartphones were introduced. 2008 is when iPhone was introduced. Even before that, right? So that time we did not have the smartphone concept. We used all these, very old-fashioned phones. So we were not thinking about shopping on phones. But yes, it's happening today, right? Almost everything you're shopping online, right? Imagine a kind of situation that is going to happen in these kind of worlds, because wherever the audience is, the marketing is going to happen there, right? So what if I buy a piece of land today and tomorrow everybody is there in these worlds, no shopping or no playing games and things like that, and some ad pops up, and no, if the customer requires that, he will definitely buy it. No, he might be able to make the transaction there itself, or currently like how it is happening today in these virtual worlds. No, you are taken to a different what do you say website, and there you complete the purchase. But that is going to all change, in the future, right? And artwork, again, a lot of artwork. You have already heard of all these ape-based artwork, even being sold for millions of dollars. This community in itself is bored ape. I'm talking about the bored ape community. So it's very very high value community today, because just an artwork, and that artwork has made a vital role in these people making a lot of money. And yes, communication platforms today, the way we are communicating, I'm doing a session over there through Zoom tomorrow. All these sessions might be happening in metaverses and with better interactivity, and of course with stable internet. We are also anticipating 5G to launch, right? So that will completely change a lot of things. So that is also going to play a vital role with 4G and all these network connectivities issues. If maybe we are facing issues, I understand, but that is going to change completely with 5G, and we don't know. Maybe in 6-7 years, 6G, 7G. So it's definitely going to improve. That is why I call it an ecosystem. Something that starts building up, the allied technologies also start growing along with it, because if there's a demand, so obviously the allied technologies have to build it, right? And I spoke a lot about advertising. So that is what this market thing is about. So you see, people who are in this industries, you can start thinking about how you're going to market, how you're going to expand, or if you're a businessman in any of these fields, obviously there is a future in it, right? And yes, no, this law part is also going to have a vital thing, because I already spoke to you that most of the transactions are going to happen using blockchain, cryptocurrency, to go ahead and make sure everything happens smoothly. So there are risks also involved, so in some of these countries, some of these platforms can be blocked, so you may not be able to access them. So that is one downfall. Or some of these governments may start adopting them completely. So there, the way transactions happen can be completely different. So government policies will always have a vital role to play. Just imagine if a country bans cryptocurrency completely, right? So it's going to be crippled, right? So, but only there, not everywhere, right? Because there are countries which are going to look at it in a different manner, and they're going to adopt it. So unless otherwise the government see it as a threat to their currency and things like that, That's not going to happen, because this is a parallel thing. This is a decentralized parallel thing that is going to happen. But later on, we are anticipating, government policies to come up. So law. So people who are in law, right, or even people who are into governance, corporate law and things like that. For you guys, you have to think about what kind of challenges this might bring in. Financial transactions, laws governing financial transactions, taxing, all these things are going to be governed. So again, there is going to be some kind of new laws framed, which will actually have these kind of uh, requirements. So you might have to study more about this to go ahead and look at how your roles will. And the last one will be the social norms, right? So it all depends on perception. Why is that crypto is being adopted only by some set of people and some no people? It's not that people don't have money to invest in crypto, but not many do it. Why is that not many buy NFTs? Not many of them are willing to go and invest in. It is again the perception problem. No, sometimes people take time to go and understand this. No, the trust doesn't come. Though if you look at the blockchain technology, methodology, or even the framework, it actually is a very trustworthy system. Okay, just because it is decentralized, everybody owns it. It is not something that it is not trustworthy. It is definitely trustworthy because it is so highly secure. But people need to understand. People have to believe that it is secure. People have to believe that my data is going to be secure over there. People have to trust what they buy in a metaverse actually can be useful for them in the future. So these kind of issues are going to delay for a while, but once there is going to be a widespread adoption, that's again going to change. Did you even think of people in villages, rural places, buying stuff from online, Amazon, Flipkart? But that is happening today, right? So if you go and check Amazon and Flipkart's target today, it is not even cities, because they have almost covered. Now they are targeting villages and rural places, those tier 2, tier 3 cities. And I can see, I often visit these places. I can see the change happening. People's perception is changing, and that is going to happen for these technologies also, right? So that is actually going to bring a change in that. Right. So let me just give a small brief about NFTs, because I mentioned NFTs over there. So NFTs are based on smart contracts. They are certificates that allow you to own a digital content on the internet. So you become an owner of that particular asset, which is a digital asset. Sometimes these digital assets also represent real term assets. So to the extent of there are some companies in US who have started connecting their real world real estate assets and the tokens, so the interactions are happening interchangeably. And creators own the content. So that is what is a major, that is what NFTs do. NFTs bring you as a creator inside, not only as something where you share along with the platform. You own these content, and you can always claim ownership of this content. It remains your content always, right? Because it is written on blockchain, it is immutable, it cannot be changed, right? So metaverse currencies. So there are currencies that we use in these worlds. So I want to take you back to the video where I showed you these characters, the protagonist buying some stuff using a currency. That currency is nothing but something you use in this world to interchange, right? So currently interoperability is a problem here, but still every metaverse has its own currency. For example, mana, sand, AXS, Vulcan Force Fire. These are all various currencies. There is a exchange where you can have a look at all these currencies, list of currencies, listed, what is their value, to the real world currency, what value it holds, because they are currently being traded, so you can have a look at them. So if you take the example of Decentraland that I showed you, so mana is the currency we use. It's a fungible token. So it is because it is interchangeable. You can share, move it to someone else, and they also have the same value. So the value doesn't change. So it is a fungible token. It's again a token. It's kind of a smart part of a smart contract. So it's all part of this blockchain, economy. It's all built on blockchain technology, right? It is built on Ethereum. It may be built on Solana. So the underlying blockchain is there. Upon that you start building, these tokens, right, which can be, used within. What happens is it makes it faster because the underlying layer, or you take blockchain, the transactions are much slower there. So that's why, these kind of things built on top of this layer can make the transactions faster, which is very, very essential currently. So when I spoke about market, I think I did not touch about banking. Banking is one thing where, it is very much relevant to all these metaverses, because we are talking about transactions, we are talking about currencies. But why is that banking is not keen currently on getting into this? Because we are talking about 10,000, or even at times peak 1 lakh transactions happening in a second. But the same thing cannot happen in no blockchains. So it sometimes even takes 5 minutes for a transaction to happen. So that is why actual banking transactions, right from the time Bitcoin has come, it has been a long time, but still it has not moved on, because that is the biggest drawback. The infrastructure drawback itself is huge. And again, there are a lot of trust issues, and we spoke about this social norms. So social norms is one of the things. But today, banks are trying to go and set up branches. They are starting their own cryptocurrency, advisory, where they can offer it as a service, to their customers, in terms of doing analytics job for them, and giving them an idea of where they can invest, because they also don't want to, miss this. So if you're from the banking sector, yes, you're not missed out, don't worry. So you can have, you can look into all these things, because customers are one day going to come back and ask you, why are you offering cryptocurrency? Or can you advise me, where do I invest, and things like that. Now you cannot keep telling them, no, don't invest in that. You only real estate is the only option. Gold is the only option. How long can you say that? There will be one day where you have to start talking about it, right? So that is also going to happen. It is already happening. There are some banks who have already started, cryptocurrency advisory, like Citibank to JP Morgan. They've all started their own things, and Indian banks also may follow suit once there is some clarity about these things that come in. Today, the biggest problem is we don't have clarity. It is not that it is denied, it has not been spoken by the authority. So that itself puts people in a lot of jeopardy. Right. So let me quickly run through the advantages, which we have already discussed a lot. It is decentralized, so it is owned by everybody. All the transactions are available for everybody to see, because it is on blockchain. It is transparent. It is efficient in a way that it is secure. And once you write it, it cannot change it. And the decentralized autonomous organizations govern these things. Okay. If you look at the Decentraland, even the tech part, the content is not in one single place. It is distributed across the participants. So which means it is being served from different individual systems. Okay, so it is not residing in one. If you take Amazon apps will be there, from one particular server, right? It is not happening like that. So that is why it is a decentralized autonomous organization. So that helps a lot. So challenges, yes, performances and scalability will be an issue, because it is primarily dealing with blockchain. As I already told you, scalability is a big issue, because of which banks did not adopt and still trying hard to go and trying to convince themselves whether they should get into this or not, or how they can use blockchain, right? And so because of that, again, metaverse as a whole also will take a backseat, because most of the metaverses, public metaverses, are built on the blockchain technology. And we already spoke about trust. So trust is a perception. It takes some time to go and change. The word decentralization can mean something, a fear to some, and some may understand it as a positive. And interoperability is currently a big issue. For example, I buy an asset, in Decentraland. Will I be able to use that asset in some other metaverse? Today, it's a big question now, right? But they are working towards that, and that is what I think these big names are trying to bring in and cover the audience that is spread across all these worlds, and bring them in one place. We don't know. That might be a possibility. And governance, again, we do not know when governments can ban something, and they may not like it, the way it is being used, and, it can come into play. And since it is decentralized and anybody can come in with anonymity, there are some issues related to, geographical securities also, I don't want to use that word, but yes, I think you all understand what it is. And policy framework, protection of investors, avoiding fraud, all these things is what the governments are thinking about, framing policies toward, to go ahead and make sure that all these things do not exist. So again, even here, there is a what's in it for you. People who are into, looking at trying to solve solutions. These are all the challenges that are there. And if you build solutions, or if you are going to look at options where these challenges can be solved, there are a lot of business opportunities. There are a lot of technology opportunities. If you're from technology, you can look at try solving it. If you're from a business perspective, you can look at how you can solve these issues for people to adopt it, or businesses to adopt it. Then I think there will be a lot of businesses who can start looking at. One example I spoke about, like governance and policy framework. Today, many organizations in India are skeptical about getting into Metaverse, whether they should own something, whether they can own an NFT. There is a consultation opportunity here, right? There is a consultation opportunity here where you can study the frameworks and things like that, understand, from the contacts, and check if you can give a steady framework on how organizations can invest in NFTs and still be termed legal. These are all kind of things where you can, these challenges again give rise to business opportunities, right? So so it's what's in it for me. So that's what. Let's start again, because I have to again go back from the beginning, because so that is where everything lies, which I had already told you. You have to look at all those aspects, especially these 4 aspects. The technology, the market, the law, and social norms. This is where you have the opportunity to build something using the technology, or to use your consultation approach, or your knowledge in terms of law, to governance, to contacts in terms of businesses, investment. All these things will come into. So these are the 4 guiding elements that actually will decide what's in it for you, right? Okay, so I think if I'm not wrong, I've already exceeded my time. Yep. So I would like to have the host come over and know if we can see the question. I don't know how to take
Yes.
the question.
Hi, Shanavaz. Yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah, this was a highly engaging session. Yeah, you let me just summarize, what you took us through today. So you helped us understand the surreal world of Metaverse, and shared that it is a social ecosystem using web, blockchain, and immersive interfaces affected by 4 critical factors, namely technology, market, laws of the land, and social norms. You also introduced us to some of the Metaverse currencies in use, which have gained acceptance and how they function. You highlighted the challenges the technology faces today, which needs to be addressed for it to scale up. And you also shared as to what we can look forward to in this space and how we can benefit from Metaverse. Thanks a lot. Thanks again. It's time to address the questions from our participants. Let me take them one by one, Shanavaz, and maybe you can answer. Yeah. Let me put the question to you one by one. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. So Nishna has a question. So she's interested, to get started in Metaverse, but is not clear as to how to do that. So, if he has to start, so what course, or, how can he start her learning process?
Okay, so what is she, when you say I want to get started with Metaverse, is she talking about from the technology perspective of how she wants to get into this creating a Metaverse? Is that mentioned somewhere in the question or something?
Not as of now. Nishna, can you please elaborate?
I'll assume that she's talking about the technology part. And if someone else also has the same thing in mind, maybe they will get this answer. Right. So if you look at technologies, we are talking about primarily 3D based environments, engines. We are talking about game engines. So Unity to Unreal, which is a starting point for you to understand how this 3D world works. If you are talking about creating a metaverse, right? But these are the technology is not limited to this. So you have to move on to the web format. So web format, we already spoke about WebGL, right? So why WebGL? Because if you build anything on web, it is available for everybody currently. Tomorrow, yes, obviously these VR devices will become cheaper, like how we are using phones. We'll start using them and you can start building for VR. So you have to start with WebGL. You have to understand what WebGL is. You have to understand how to build 3D experiences using Unity, Unreal engines, and then look at bringing in WebRTC, for real-time communication. And you cannot actually do everything together. Choose which one you want to choose. Are you going to do you need the technology, you want to focus on the technology that governs this, like blockchain technology, or the one, this virtual world? They are completely different. Yeah, some of them can learn both, but I would suggest against.
Okay, Nishna, I hope that answers your question. Yeah, let's move on to the next question. Arpit asks a question: how far do you think Metaverse will go? What do you think is the future of Metaverse? Do you see it positively? Will it scale up?
So if I think I showed you this slide, right? When in 2015, when Decentraland announced something like this, okay, and actually the big names were taken back because they thought it is going to take a lot of time, and some of them wrote them off. Okay, even 2 years back. So when I saw some of these companies claiming, that they are going to bid their coins, and you can buy, and later you can buy the land. We were thinking, oh, what are these guys even talking about? Right? I'm from the same field almost. Imagine the kind of scope we're talking about here. But today it is happening. So you see what is happening. So it is there for you to see. And just these kind of challenges, if they get eliminated, I think there's a big scope.
Okay. Yasin has a question. Yeah. What are the opportunities to make money on the metaverse? How can someone individually make money?
Okay, so if you are very good at games, you can right away start, go to Axie Infinity, go to Roblox, create a game, you gain coins, and those coins can be exchanged on the market. So I do not know which background you belong to. See, Roblox and Axie Infinity allows you to create games using they have their own platform using which you can create. All you need is a creativity and some interest towards games. I do not believe. I think everybody would have watched this show. What is that? Squid Game. There are a lot of games that were introduced, right? You will not believe these guys recreated these games on this Roblox and Axie Infinity. They were quite interesting, actually. I don't know, minus the gory part, but yes, many people played it. So it's up to your creativity. You find something is trending viral somewhere. Try to go out and create a game over there. I think people will like it and start playing. And the more adoption the game gets, the more money you get.
Okay. Can we move on to the next question? Yes. Okay. So give me a second, please. So Ramachandra asks, why is it termed the estate is termed as real estate, even on the metaverse? Because by the word itself, it means something which is concrete. But is it by choice, or is there something else behind naming it as real estate?
I think, okay, let me tell you, I don't even know whether they have named it or not. So I think there'll be some kind of a name that will be coined for this. But currently, everybody uses a different term. Someone uses the term as space in their metaverse. For example, Decentraland uses the name land. It's an LAND. Okay, so it's not just their way of referring it. But the real estate companies are still referring it to as a real estate itself. there will be some name coin, or maybe not, or maybe it will be named as virtual estate. Okay, let's start using virtual estate from today. I'll make sure that I use the term virtual estate from today on. Thank you for the advice.
Okay. Aniket also has another question. What is the difference between centralized and decentralized data storage? He wants it, to elaborate a little bit more on that.
This is very out of scope, but yes, I'll try to answer. For example, a centralized storage is something which is stored in one particular place, like a server. Okay, so all your data of whatever an application, if you take, it is stored in one location only in storage. No, it is centrally backed up. But decentralized storage is where I have a node. I also participate in that particular blockchain. Some of this data will be all the data will be in my space, and it will be stored. Whenever it is required, it will be brought up. Use that particular node and serve the data. That is why today it is slow, because it is decentralized.
Okay. So can we move on to the next question? Yes. So Fardeen asks, what are the other ways than games for earning tokens? If you can share a few more examples, Shanaz.
Apart from games, there are going to be some experiences that will be created over here. For example, see, how do you generally earn money? So you earn money by bringing some value to someone, right? So these marketing companies can create some kind of value additions where more people participate, or if you bring in more people to participate by some way or the other, right? That I think is again a way of earning money. For example, you own a space in a particular metaverse, and you generally keep conducting activities, or in some way or the other you have an audience around you. People, when they come in, they look for you and they come join you. Suppose you start introducing a product to them, right? And it's kind of a reference marketing we're talking about. Even that is a opportunity to earn. We don't know. That is something which is already happening. I've heard. I've seen many of them trying to sell me some stuff in all space VR, even 3 months back.
Okay. Varudhini has a question. How can Metaverse help educators, and do the benefits outweigh the negatives? So any way that Metaverse can be introduced into the education system as well.
Okay, I think in the very beginning, when I showed you the first video, I stopped at one point and told you, do you see Minecraft? Minecraft is primarily an education tool, right? It is, you don't know, you please go and check Minecraft. This is, in fact, 2 years back, during the pandemic, I was even thinking about why is that Minecraft is not being adapted as a educational tool, because you can do so much more in Minecraft, to go and teach stuff which is very difficult to teach in real world, like shapes, for mathematics. And there are some educators who have done great job. Please go and search. There is already stuff. Minecraft is also kind of a metaverse where everybody can come and participate. It's a real-time communication that happens. Maybe not coins or buying happens. That is good for education, right? So you can use it for education. Yes.
Umesh has a question. What are the prerequisites for Metaverse installation?
It depends on the metaverse. If a particular metaverse is on an app base, then it will ask you to download a particular app on your PC, and then you start experiencing it. And whatever I showed you, the 4 of them, they run on web directly, so they don't allow you ask you to download any particular app, right? So there are some metaverse based applications on VR platforms also. If you own an Oculus headset or a Vive, you can have some interaction based metaverses there also, which are used for communication, presentation, sales presentations, like that. Yep.
Okay, Arnav and Ankit have similar questions. They ask whether it's possible to create a deep dive virtual reality world like Read Player One, where you actually feel things that you are viewing. So you can feel when you're eating things, you can actually taste the food. So is there something like that possible?
Okay, so that is again a very extreme example that you gave. So it has started happening. The haptic suits that you already saw in one of the examples, in the video, like the one. So those kind of haptic suits are already started coming in. Where you can run, jump, and the virtual reality device will understand that you're running, you're jumping, and it can recreate the same actions in the virtual world for your avatar. That is already available. Some haptic suits have pressure sensors which create a pressure when you get hit by a bullet, or for industry and business purposes, there are haptic gloves that are created which have vibrators in it. So when you touch something, you feel it. Not exactly the kind of touch feel we're talking about, but yes, there are some kind of mechanisms used which may compress or just give that pressure to your hand so that you feel like lifting it. Not wide scale production is happening, but yes, prototypes are available.
Similar lines. Another question from Nakshatra Rana. Is it likely to see the metaverse being used in the military? So a military suit, so that person can wear it, a bulletproof, with a VR helmet, which he can use in military operations. So is something like that also possible and viable?
Okay, see, like already I already answered, told in the beginning, like a metaverse need not incorporate all these things. Some of these metaverses may incorporate only the virtual interface. Okay, so excuse me. Currently, the military is already using army or military is already using some virtual setups, where they plan strategically. These things don't come in news because they should not come, because it is about no security, so they don't dwell much. There are studios in India itself developing applications for no military specifically, and and it is again not news. This virtual world. I do not know how many of you are aware of aircraft industry or where pilot training happens. These pilots have been trained using simulators. These kind of simulators long, way long. We're talking about 2000 itself. So yes, it can be used in many fields, including military.
Okay. Last few questions. We're running out of time. So Rajnikant Chandan asks, can we hack the metaverse?
What is that?
Can we hack the metaverse? Is it possible to hack a metaverse?
No, it depends on what you're talking about. What do you mean by hacking? So, of course, you want to gain entry into it. Anyways, they are allowing you to enter without any hacking, so you don't have to. But yes, hacking is, yeah. If you want to hack the transactions, if the metaverse is built on a blockchain, you are going to have a big time, big difficult time doing it. But if it is a normal, web-based interface, you can hack it the way you hack your websites. That's it.
Okay. Umesh has a question. Can we trade the metaverse? Is that correct, Umesh?
Trade in metaverse or trade the metaverse?
Can we trade metaverse is his question. That's what he stated here.
I do not know how do you trade metaverse, but
Umesh, if you can elaborate, maybe we will take your question later.
Yeah, I believe it is trade in metaverse. If you can come back, I'll look into it.
Okay, one last question from Ankit. What will be the effect of metaverse on normal people? Like in reader player movies, people spend time in metaverse. Is it going to affect real life? Is there any examples to show that it can negatively impact life? So for a normal person, apart from corporates, what is the viability of using the metaverse on a day-to-day basis?
First thing, as a parent, you're going to have a big time, controlling your kids, not getting too far into this. So that is one big impact you will start seeing already. I told you guys, like PUBG is nothing but a metaverse. Why is that everybody was hooked to it? The reason, because you can have real-time interaction with people over there, and that impact is already something we have seen over there. And in the future, if people get hooked to it, like you saw, one guy runs, tries, jump and kills himself. That is because people there might be issues where people will start finding it difficult to differentiate between the virtual and the real world. it is going to be a possibility. But if you look at that, aspect of it, every technology has had that impact. No, who is not talking about phone usage? Like people hook to smartphones today. Like there are so many memes that come up. Like we are always looking at the moon, and that is all impact, right? Every technology is going to have such an impact, and this will definitely have an impact. I don't doubt that. Nobody can doubt that. But we have to move on. We just can't stop for few of these. Technology has to move on.
Okay, one last question, Srinivas, for the day. Yeah, from Abbas Zaidi. He says blockchain technology used in cryptocurrencies emit a green house effect. And since we are moving in the direction of metaverse and NFTs, which work on the same mechanism, is it all even possible to get to a point of a properly functioning virtual world without literally destroying the planet due to climate change?
See,
So this is a very serious point of view, but yeah, if you
okay,
can just...
okay. So I will answer that question. Before that, I'll also ask you a question. Do you guys all think that whatever you talk about, people say you start using battery vehicles and you're going to save a lot of fossil fuel and things like that. How are you going to get electricity? You get electricity from the fossil fuel, right? You burn coal and you get the electricity, and you're going to use that electricity. So some form of the earth, it is going to come back. Okay, so this is a food for thought to you. Think about that also. Same way, I'll come to this. First of all, the methodology is getting changed slowly. We are moving on to proof of stake methodology from proof of work, which is going to reduce this drastically. ETH is working on no proof of work currently, but once ETH2 is released, it is going to be on proof of stake. The way people are mining now, they cannot do that anymore. The concept is completely changing. So that actually drastically will reduce. Okay, so when these kind of method, and as I said, technology will keep growing. The ecosystem will keep growing. This is again one part of the ecosystem. Someone has to start thinking about. Good that you brought up. There is one field now. Someone has to start thinking about how do we use less resources and still use blockchain. That is again up for grab. Someone comes up with a white paper, right? You will be in big demand. Yes.
Thanks a lot, Srinivas. That's all we have time for today. Sorry, we're not able to address everything today due to paucity of time. Yeah. Thank you again, Srinivas. It was great having you with us. And a big thank you to all our attendees as well. Before you leave, please provide us with feedback on this webinar by filling out the survey as you exit the session. For our students, a recorded version of this webinar will be made available shortly on the student portal if you wish to view it again. You can follow Online Manipal on social media to stay updated on our programs and industry expert sessions. Thank you again for attending and have a good evening.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thanks a lot for coming and joining me at this time. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you. Good night.